Hey guys, it's Ro. Today we are going to be making some DIY rainbow treats. I got so many requests from you guys to make something rainbow themed, and I have been seeing rainbows everywhere on the internet. Everyone's throwing up rainbows left and right. My sister and I love rainbows, and her favorite color, we asked her when she was little, we go, Mo, what's your favorite color? And she said, rainbows. And we painted her whole room rainbows, and today her favorite color is still rainbows. She's really gonna like today's treats. The first thing that we are gonna be making are these cute little rainbow Funfetti cupcakes. The things you will need will be 2 cups of flour, 1½ cup of sugar, 5 egg whites, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening, 3/4 cup of whole milk, 1 stick of butter, which is 4 ounces, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract, and 1/2 cup of rainbow sprinkles. To decorate, the things you'll need will be 6 different colors of fondant. You can make it from scratch and dye it yourself, or you can buy it pre-made like I did from Wilton. This saves a lot of time, and I really love these. We've got blue, red, green, yellow, purple, and orange. You'll also need some decorating icing, blue silicone cupcake liners, decorating tips to shape the little rainbows, and some toothpicks. The first thing that we're gonna do is mix together our flour, salt, and baking powder into this little mixing bowl and whisk it together. Now we are gonna mix together our butter and shortening in the mixer, and you wanna make sure that your butter is room temperature so it's kind of soft. And mix together until it's well combined. Now you're gonna add your sugar and mix it up one more time, cream it together until it's well combined. Now we're gonna add in both of our extracts and mix it together one more time, and then we'll be adding our eggs. Because we are making a white cake today, we are gonna separate our egg yolk from the egg white, and we are just gonna be using the egg whites today. We're gonna add the egg whites one at a time. So I've got 1 egg white in here, and you're just gonna add it to the mixture, and then mix it up, and then add, 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 and then mix it up. Once you've mixed in all of your eggs, now we're gonna alternate adding in our dry ingredients that we mixed together earlier and your milk, starting with the dry. Dry, milk, dry, milk, dry. Now to make this cake a funfetti cake, we are gonna add in our sprinkles and mix it up one last time. Oh, it looks so cool! The funfetti cupcake batter is all ready, and I just put our silicone liners into our cupcake tray, and I really like these because they actually have a fill line. So in the inside they have a little line that says fill to here for the perfect size cupcake, and I thought that was pretty neat. So I'm just taking a little scoop over here, but you can also use a tablespoon, whatever's handy, and I'm just gonna do a big scoop, plop it in, and it should fill right to that line. Once you've filled all your cupcake liners, they're ready to bake. We're gonna pop these in the oven at 350 degrees and bake for about 18 minutes. While the cupcakes are baking, we are gonna be making some rainbow decorations out of fondant. Over here I've got purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. And then I've placed down a piece of wax paper. I taped it on top of a little cutting board so that the fondant won't stick to the surface. And we're gonna start with purple. What you're gonna do is just take a little pinch of fondant. I'm just gonna roll it in a little ball. Then I'm gonna roll out the fondant into a rope about 1/8 inch thick. Then you're gonna take one of these little decorating tips, and you're gonna place the fondant all the way around. This will just help create the shape of the rainbow. I'm gonna take this little knife, I'm gonna cut off the excess. The cupcake recipe makes about 24 cupcakes, so you can make however many you'd like. Then you're gonna take a little pinch of blue fondant, and we're gonna do the same thing. To make sure your fondants stick together, what you're gonna do is take a little paintbrush, this is a little baking brush, you're gonna dip it into a little bit of water, and the best way to get fondants to stick together is just put down a little bit of water. You're gonna place the second color all the way around, and it will stick together. Now you're just gonna keep doing the same thing with our fondants, rolling them out into a thin rope, and then layering them on top of each other to make little rainbows. We just finished making all of our little rainbows out of fondant, and I let them sit for about 10 minutes so that they would harden, and now When you pick them up, they'll stay together, they hold form. And I just took the cupcakes out of the oven. They've had plenty of time to cool, and now we are going to decorate. I've got some decorator icing. I put it into a plastic baggie with a number 12 tip just for a little bit more control. And we're just gonna frost the top of each cupcake so that it will look like clouds. You're gonna take a little rainbow, and then you're just gonna press it right on the top. And there you have it. Here are all of our rainbow Funfetti cupcakes. And when you peel it down, ooh, you can see the Funfetti in there. I love Funfettis. Ow. The next treat that we're going to be making are some rainbow pudding pops. These are very similar to the ones that we made for the DIY 4th of July treats, but we are going to be making them with so many more colors. To make these rainbow pudding pops, the things you will need will be some Dixie cups, a stove pot, 3 cups of milk, a whisk, 1 package of vanilla pudding, 6 different colors of food coloring. We've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, the colors of the rainbow. 6 bowls for mixing, 6 spoons, and some wooden craft spoons for the little handles. The first thing that we're gonna do is take our stove pot, milk, and vanilla pudding mix with our whisk over to the stove. Pour your pudding mix and milk into your stove pot and whisk together. Then turn the stove onto medium heat and heat until the mixture comes to a boil. You're gonna wanna keep stirring, stir constantly. Then, once it boils, turn off the heat and take your pot back over to the baking station. Our pudding is fresh off the stove, so be careful, it's very hot. And now we are gonna divide it into the 6 bowls. I'm just gonna pour it. I'm using an eyeballing technique. Got these little pour spigots on the side of the pot, which makes it a little bit easy. Just need a little bit. I like to do this while it's still hot because as it cools, it thickens up and it's easier to pour while it's still thinner. Now we are gonna dye each of our pudding a different color from the rainbow. I'm gonna start with orange, just add a little drop of orange and then mix together. Now a little bit of yellow, little bit of green. Now that we have colored all of our puddings, we are gonna assemble our little pops in these cute little Dixie cups I have over here. I placed them on top of a baking sheet because we are gonna pop them into the freezer later, and letting them freeze on a baking sheet is a really good idea because they won't fall over in the freezer. It's a nice flat surface. I'm gonna start with purple. I'm just gonna take about a spoonful, put it right in the middle, make sure it covers a layer at the bottom, and then what I like to do is jiggle it just a little bit and then give it a tap. Tap, 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 so that the pudding will be flat. Then we're gonna add our blue and tap flat. Tap, 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 tap. And then green, yellow, orange, and red. Once you've assembled your little pudding pop, I'm just gonna place it right here, and you're gonna take a wooden stick and put it right in the middle, about halfway down. All right, now we're gonna pop the pudding pops into the freezer for a few hours until they have completely frozen. These pops sat in the freezer for a few hours and now they are ready to eat. You just pick one up, hold it by the little handle, and then you peel off the paper. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Look, you guys. Dee-doo. Here's our little rainbow pudding pop, and now they are ready to serve. The next treat that we're gonna be making are these rainbow jar cakes. The things you will need to make these will be 2 cups of flour, 1½ cup of sugar, 5 egg whites, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening, 3/4 cup of milk, 1 stick or 4 ounces of butter, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract, and we'll need some rainbow food coloring dyes. The tools you will need will be 6 round 6-inch pans, some decorator icing, some glass jars, decorating bags, rainbow sprinkles, and a circle cookie cutter. I'm using a 2½ inch so that it will fit into the jar. The first thing that we're gonna do to make these rainbow jar cakes is very simple. We're gonna be using the same recipe as those Funfetti cupcakes that we made earlier. So over here, I've already mixed up the batter from what we made earlier, but I didn't do the last step. I didn't add any sprinkles, so that is the only difference. And now we're gonna divide it into these 6 different bowls to color them the colors of the rainbow. I'm just gonna scoop a little batter into each bowl. I'm using an eyeballing technique, trying to make them even. We're gonna dye each of the bowls a color of the rainbow. Roy G. Biv. This is super easy. Just take a couple of drops and mix it up till it's evenly combined. Our cake batters are colored, and now it's time to pour them into our baking pans. I've got a little baking spray over here. I'm just gonna spray each pan. And just a reminder, I am using 6-inch pans, but these ones look a little bit different because they're a little taller. I didn't have 6 identical ones, but they are just the same, no difference. Now you're gonna fill up all of your pans with the batters. All of our pans are filled, and as you can see, it's a very little amount of batter. Look at that. So you wanna make sure that the batter is touching all sides, so you give a little shake. Shake, 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 shake. And a little tap. Tap, 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 tap. And then we're gonna pop them in the oven at 350 degrees and bake them for about 15 minutes. These little pans are so small, so I was able to fit them all onto one rack. Once your cakes have baked and have had plenty of time to cool, now we are gonna take our circle cookie cutter and cut out a bunch of circles into our little cakes. This recipe makes 3 cake jars because that is how many circles you can cut into the top of each of the cakes. There are many different ways to make a rainbow jar cake, and I like to do it this way because you really see the definition of color between the colors. I've also done it the other way, where you pour the batter into the jar and actually bake them in the oven, but the problem I've had with that is that the outsides turn a lighter brown even when I bake it in a water bath. So this is the way I like to make my rainbow jar cakes because you just see the colors. They're so bright and beautiful. We've got all of our circles cut out, and now over here on a little piece of parchment paper, I am going to assemble the stack, and I'm going to show you a trick what I like to do. So you're going to start with red, and you're going to take a little bit of buttercream frosting, just a dab, and just go boop, and then spread it flat, and then orange, and then yellow, then green, blue, and then ending with purple. Now for the fun part, I love this. You're going to take your jar, oh my gosh, and you're just going to go right down on top of your cake stack. You're gonna slide the jar to the end of the counter and use your parchment paper and flip it upside down. Boop. Our jars are assembled, and now for the fun part. It is time to decorate. I love this part. So here I just have some buttercream frosting in a little baggie with a star tip. I'm not sure what number this little tip is, but it's the one with the little star end. And now we're just gonna frost a bunch at the top. Ooh, like this reminds me of an ice cream cone. This part is totally optional, but I'm gonna decorate them with some rainbow sprinkles. Take a pinch and make it rain over the top. I'll make it rain, I'll make it rain, I'll make it rain. And there you have it, our rainbow jar cakes. The next treat that we're gonna be making are these yummy rainbow fruit skewers. The things you will need to make these yummy rainbow fruit skewers will be 1 pineapple, a cantaloupe, fresh raspberries, red grapes, green grapes, blueberries, a large cutting knife, a small cutting knife, and some wooden skewers. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna cut up our pineapple. You can buy your pineapple pre-cut to make things easier, but I love fresh pineapple. I've got a cutting board, a sharp cutting knife, and the first thing you're gonna do is cut off the pineapple's hair. And then you're gonna cut off the end, and we're gonna cut off the sides. And we're gonna cut our pineapples into slices, like pineapple patties. I'm taking a smaller knife and I'm just gonna cut out the core. The core is in the middle. Get rid of these suckers. And then you're just gonna cut your little pineapple slices. Now we're gonna cut up our cantaloupe. These are really easy to cut up. Again, I'm working on a cutting board with a sharp cutting knife, so be very careful. There's the little end. Here's the top, so I'm gonna cut it hot dog style. And now I'm gonna take a spoon and I'm gonna scoop out the middle part, the guts, into this little bowl. Then we're gonna cut hot dog once again down the middle. And now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna cut the quarters right down the middle. And you're just gonna cut the green and skin off. Don't need them. Then we're just gonna cut them into little chunks. Now all of our fresh fruit is prepared and we are ready to assemble these cute little skewers. To assemble these, you're gonna take a wooden skewer. One end is dull and the other end is pokey, so be careful. And we're gonna assemble these backwards. So we're gonna start with purple, and you can either do 1 or 2. I really love grapes, so I'm gonna be using 2. Then we're gonna add a couple blueberries. You're gonna add your green grape. Now add a piece of pineapple. Then your orange cantaloupe. I love raspberries, so I'm also gonna be adding 2 of these. There you have it. Rainbow fruit skewer. Da-da! Here are all the DIY rainbow treats that we made today. We made Funfetti rainbow cupcakes, rainbow pudding pops, rainbow jar cakes, and some rainbow skewers. Yum, 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 yum. Thanks you guys for suggesting something rainbow treats, and a big thank you to Wilton for partnering with me to make this video. I made a video over on Wilton's channel, so I'll put a link down below to go check it out. It's a video I made about some tips and tricks for working with fondant, like these cute little rainbows we made today. I use fondant all the time on my show, and I thought the video would be super helpful. And I will be posting lots of pictures of these yummy treats all over my social media, and if you guys make these, please take a picture and send it to me. I love seeing your baking creations. I get a big kick out of it. It just makes my day. All right, thanks again. Bye-bye.